You're now tuned in to the Desire to Trade podcast, a show where we bring you the best figures of the trading world and teach you how you can become a successful trader. This is your host, Etienne Crete.
What's up, trader? It's Kat here from the Desire to Trade, and welcome to episode 37 of the Desire to Trade podcast. Now, we all think when we start to trade that trading is going to be easy, that we can learn to become a trader overnight, and that in only a few months we'll be successful. In this episode, my guest made it very, very clear. A lawyer has to go to school to be successful. He has to go through a process, and that's acceptable. It takes 7 years. A doctor has to go through medical school, and that's acceptable too. You wouldn't hire a doctor who doesn't go through medical school, right? If you want to get to the point where you are successful, you have to take it very, very seriously, and you have to put time in it. 7 years is what he said is necessary. Now, it might take less time or more time. Ryan Herron is a binary option as well as a Forex trader. He spent a lot of time blowing up several accounts. You'll see in the episode. It's a pretty interesting story. But Ryan had really good piece of advice and wisdom for people who are looking to succeed. Now, the interesting part with this interview, and you'll see it's pretty funny, I recorded the interview, and a few minutes after, I decided to listen back to it. Now, I realized pretty quickly that the first 5 minutes were missing. So you'll see that the first 5 minutes have been recorded after the whole episode, which means that we have a good laugh with it. But you'll see that But the rest of the episode is original, so it's really from the start. So enjoy this episode. Again, if you're not in the Facebook group, check out the Facebook group at desiretotrade.com/group. It's a good group for Forex traders to get accountability and to network with other traders. So check this out. Also, I have a couple of free resources at desiretotrade.com/free. A couple of checklists, a couple of cheat sheets. You can download them for free. So check this out and enjoy the show. Alright, traders, so I'm again with Ryan Herron. What we're doing is we're re-recording the intro, because one part of it was missing after the recording. So we're redoing this again. So what's up, Ryan? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you again?
Yeah, very good again. Yeah, perfect. So start by telling us one quote that inspires you.
One quote that inspires me would be happy with what you have. If you have a roof over your head or a car to drive or a cell phone or you go to Starbucks, be happy because you are in the top % of the world as far as wealth is concerned. A lot of people don't have the things that you have.
Yeah, it's something we don't think about most often, I think. But thanks for reminding us. So tell us what's going on these days for you.
Just running a couple of sites, doing some trading, just living life and being happy, man. I love trading these. I took a corn trade this morning and I had to take a little bit of heat on it. But being from the South where they grow corn, I figured, well, I'm going to trade corn today, and turned out just fine. And but I can't tell you what I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for years.
One thing people are often wondering about is how you started to trade. So tell us that story. How did it start?
Well, that's a funny story. I had a job driving across the country, delivering products. I lived in a van, and we would load pallets in the van. I would take it to one place to another. And at truck stops, I was looking for ways to make extra money. I didn't have any money. I wanted to make extra money, and I came upon trading. And that's how it all started. So I just started trading from truck stops or sitting in the back of the van, studying, every waking hour that I could. And I got the bug, and it's been an uphill battle, or it was an uphill battle for about the first 5 years. But then I finally reached a breakthrough, and just like most traders, when you reach that breakthrough, there's really no looking back.
Mm-hmm. And how was the learning process to learn how to trade?
Horrible. There was nights that I was just so irritated, and I wanted to quit. I don't know how many times. I blew out 9 accounts.
9 account.
Yeah, I did. I did. And because I'm hard-headed and stubborn, everything that I tried, it would go in the reverse direction that I tried to do it. I tried to fade the markets and everything like that. And it was only after I found out about doing the opposite of what everybody else taught that I became profitable.
Mm-hmm. What was the opposite of what everybody else taught?
Buy high and sell low. I mean, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's just basic trend following. If you look at some people like there's the group, the Turtles out there that are the famous group of people that learn trend following, and so I read Michael Covell's book Trend Following, and I thought, can I apply this to what I do? And lo and behold, yes. So it's one of the strategies that's been working since the beginning of time. And that's the way that I view the markets.
Now, the question I have at that point is, how do you keep going up after blowing up 9 account? Like, I'm guessing after like 5, you're probably discouraged and don't want to start, right?
Oh, I was discouraged. I took some time off for a while and just studied hard and just got right back into it. And it went kind of like this. I blew out my first account in like a day or two. And then I got stupid ideas and read all the forums, which you shouldn't do because there's a bunch of crap on there. And then I got another bright idea, but I didn't, I blew out my account like in a week. And then the next account took like, a month or two. And losing money in the accounts, it took longer and longer to do. And then finally, instead of losing money, I started making money, and that took 9 accounts to do, but it was very frustrating. But I knew there was something there, and I knew there was something that I was missing, and I was trying to find that missing piece, and just kept learning and putting it all together. But it took a while.
I think it's good to put that in place and to understand that, it's a long process. It's definitely a process that you go by pretty fast if you're passionate about it, but it's taking a lot of time.
Well, it's not strategy. That's not the part that takes the longest. Mm-hmm. The part that takes the longest is your own mind. Mm-hmm. Doing what you tell yourself that you're going to do instead of placing a trade and getting into the trade and then doing something opposite because the market, quote unquote, looks like it's going to do something. Because when the market looks like it's going to do something, it's going to do the reverse, So, but just getting consistent and getting control of your own mind.
Totally true. Now, the thing I want to hear about is you're trading binary options. So tell us a little bit how that works.
Binary options, they're basically a simple yes or no formula. It's like, for instance, me and you get together. I believe that the euro dollar is going to go up. You believe that the euro dollar is going to go down. I'll take my $50, put it on the table. You take your $50, put it on the table. Winner take all. That's the basic concept behind binary options. Now, there's a lot more to it. There's what's called OTM and ITM, which is out of the money and in the money. You can sell a product before price even gets there, or you can sell a product way after price has been there. There's all kinds of ways to do it. I took about four or five in the money trades today, which means that price didn't have to get up to what's called my strike price before I can make a profit. Even if price sat still and didn't even move, I would make a profit. That's an in the money trade. Out of the money trades are cheap, though. You can buy them really cheap, and if the market moves, then you're going to make money. But you have a fixed amount that you can lose. It's not like Forex where you can lose, your entire account in one trade. What your risk is on every single binary option trade. But I will say this. There's only 2 exchanges that I would even think about dealing with, and that's Cantor Exchange and Nadex. Anything else, in my opinion, I'm not touching because I don't want to trade against a broker.
A lot of scam and frauds, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of scams and a lot of frauds out there. They're all over the place. And it's very hard to differentiate what's a fraud and what's a scam and from who's legit. However, let me just propose this one thing to you. If you're trading with a binary options broker, you're trading against them. They want you to lose. I'll tell you one thing. If you're trading against me, I want you to lose, because if you win, I lose money. I don't want to lose money. Do you want to lose money? No, nobody does. So if you're trading against a broker, they want you to lose. So if they want you to lose, why are they offering that service other than to, hopefully you're going to lose? In an exchange, it's a little bit different. The exchange makes money from the spread, or from commission fees, or whatever. Actually, market makers make money from the spread, but that's a different story. But I'm trading against you. I'm trading against another trader. I'm not trading against my broker. So the broker has nothing to do with whether, they don't care whether I win or lose. They're going to make money either way. The exchange will.
And I think something I don't recommend to people, but you seems to be doing it, is to trade two different markets at the same time. So trading both Forex and binaries. Is this something you would recommend to people, or is it something you have to really get experience in?
Well, you can trade both at the same time. You can trade, for instance, if you want to trade long or buy, say, the euro US dollar in Forex. You can go long. You can also buy what's called an out of the money binary. It's kind of like spending a little bit for some insurance, so that if your trade goes south, you may end up winning on your binary. You may not if it doesn't fall fast enough, because there's a what's called a strike price and an expiration time. But if it falls at a certain rate, which you can see it on your chart, you'll win your binary, you'll lose your Forex trade. You can come out, break even. You can lose less than you would with just a naked Forex. And the reason that I like doing that, I don't do it on every trade, but the reason I like that style of trading is, how many times have you placed a stop loss on your trade and it goes and hits your stop and then turns around and goes in your favor 200 pips and you're just pissed off? That's happened to me. I can't tell you how many times. So I don't like close stop losses. I will put in a catastrophic stop, so that in the event, I lose internet or whatever, or a big, some stupid person comes out and says something about the government that causes the markets to go haywire. I'll set something like that. But close, 10 pip stops or 20 pip stops on every trade, I don't do that. I allow for market volatility to come into play.
Mm-hmm. But I guess the idea is not to add to your position, right? It's really to edge against like for your trade, basically, right?
Yeah, you can add to your position as long as you've got it under control. That's the biggest mistake I ever made, was averaging down on every position.
Mm-hmm.
I'll average down a total of 3 times, and that's it. I won't do it anymore, because that's how you kill an account really fast. If the trade, let's say, for those that don't know what averaging down is, let's say you buy the euro US dollar or a stock or a future or whatever, and it goes against you. It starts dropping in value. The technical junkies of Wall Street call it dollar cost averaging. That's just a fancy way of saying averaging down. That is to buy at a lower price to make your average price, it would be like halfway in between your first buy and your second buy, so that the market only has to come back up halfway for you to break even. However, when it starts dropping, and you can't stop the market from dropping. When it starts dropping out of control and you keep averaging down, you're building your position. You're not only losing on one contract or one lot, you're losing on one lot, then you're losing on 2 lots, then you're losing on 3 lots, and so forth. And the more you add, it seems like the faster it drops. That's the biggest mistake in trading whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. No, this is something I've done also myself a couple of times, and it didn't work at all. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Now, one question I often get asked is, how long did it take for you to go from like the first time you hear about trading to being profitable as a trader?
Okay, well, I'll tell you how long it took me, and then I'll tell you what I tell people. I tell people it's going to take you, on average, 7 years. And the reason I say this, not to be profitable, You can be profitable well before then, but to be actually doing it for a living. Look at doctors or lawyers or any profession out there. They go to college and they go through some years of medical school, and everybody thinks that's fine. They'll spend $200,000 at a college to be a doctor, and everybody thinks that's fine, and it is. It's great. However, when you talk to a trader and you tell him, well, it may take you 7 years to do this, for a living, they think you're nuts. Well, why can't I learn this in a day? All the time on the internet, you see, come with me, I'll show you my system and make you a millionaire in a month. Mm-hmm. Bull crap.
So many of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's I can't stand them. Oh goodness, drive me up the wall. Anyhow, so it took me about 5 years to become profitable. You can do it. One of the reasons it took me so long is because I have a hard head. I'm very stubborn, and I want to do it, by gosh, my way, Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to listen to anybody. Well, I started listening to one guy, and he led me down a road on trend following. Then I started listening to another guy, and he really helped me turn it around with psychology. And you've got to find that one thing that you can do well. And everybody has something that they can do well. Everybody. I don't care who you are. You're skilled at something. And if you're in trading, maybe you are skilled at averaging down, even though I tell you it's a mistake. Maybe you're good at it. Or maybe you're good at tight stop losses or whatever. You've got something that you can work on. And if you stick with one thing and stop jumping around, I used to jump around from strategy to strategy to strategy, and I never found anything that worked. And whenever I finally focused on one, it started working. Well, I traded that way, and then I started working on another one, and it started working after many trials and error. And you can build from that, but you've got to find that one thing that works first, and it may take a while.
Mm-hmm. The strategy part is interesting, but would you agree that at some point you kind of have to create your own strategy as a trader?
Yeah, there's plenty of strategies out there that work. Plenty of them. You can go on just about any forum and find something that works. Now you can go and back test it, and it will show that it works. Things like that. And then you go in a demo account and you do your demo trading, and it works. And then you jump to a live account and you lose. You know what that is? That's not got anything to do with the strategy. That's got to do with your own mind. If you back test it and it works, and it's working in demo, and then the minute you go to live and you start losing, don't blame the creator of that strategy. Look inside yourself, because that's our own mind, our own psychology that works against us there. So, but yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there that works. You can create something out of thin air given enough time. But there's plenty of people out there to listen to. Just vet everybody. Don't take anybody's word for granted. Nobody, not me, not anybody.
I think, like you said, the fact of taking small parts from like everyone and then you just build your own stuff from that, I think it's really powerful. And it does work. Yeah, it does work.
It is. One of my buddies, his name is Rob Booker. He really taught me about psychology, and looking at your own self. And, because I used to second guess every single trade. And you know what? I still kind of second guess them in the back of my mind. And actually I second guessed one last night. But it's what you do that, it helps you become a better trader. Everybody's going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes. I still do things that I told myself I'm not going to do. They just become less and less and less over time. And if you've got a partner or a team that you can call on and say, "Hey, I'm going to tell you what I do. I want you to tell me if I'm doing it wrong." They will hold you accountable. If it's a good friend, they'll hold you accountable. Terry last night, we got into a gold trade, and we both sold. He sold a strike, and I sold a higher strike, and I closed my trade last night because I didn't have confidence in the strategy. He held on to his trade, and he ended up winning the trade. And he said, "Why did you close your trade? You had no confidence in that trade setup." And I think I ended up making a whopping $3 on the thing. But, if you have somebody to help hold you accountable, that will help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What about this second guessing thing? Like, how did you overcome this exactly?
Just time and experience. After a while, you'll get so mad at yourself. You'll say, okay, something's got to change. There's little techniques you can do. One of them is I used to put a rubber band around my wrist and snap it every time that I started to second guess myself. And you might laugh at it or whatever, but it'll kind of snap your thought process for a minute and help you sit back and realize to not do what your brain is telling you to do. For instance, many trades, I will second guess the trades that I think before placing the trade, this is not going to win. Those are the ones that win the biggest, and the trades that I think, my God, this is a sure winner. Those are the ones that lose. I mean, it's weird. It works that way. So when you have a strategy or a system that you trade, and you and whoever you're working with agree, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to take these trades no matter what, because the back tests have told us they win. The demo forward tests have told us that they win. And when we go to live trading, we will do this for a specific amount of time. We're not going to do it for a day or a week and then lose and then, go on to the next thing. We're going to do it for a specific amount of time and evaluate the results. And when we get the results back, that will tell us, do we want to continue doing this in the future? So, I don't know how to tell you, how to not second guess your trade. I mean, that's just something that'll come with time. But you just have to learn to sit on your hands. I think
the big thing here is it's not to second guess. It's really about knowing what to do when that happens. So.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Would you say you do not take the trade if you second guess yourself, or would you say you still take it?
Oh, I'll take the trade if I second guess it. Yeah, I'll do it. The trade last night, it went against me a little bit, and I stayed in the trade because that's what I told myself I was going to do. I think one of the reasons I stayed in my own trade and did not stay in Terry's trade is because I knew for a fact what my probabilities were. I did not know what his probabilities were, even though I trust Terry. He's a great guy. I didn't know what the probabilities were. So that's kind of a little scenario where I stayed in my own trade because I knew the probabilities and I didn't second guess it as much. Whereas another trade with somebody else's strategy, I second guessed so much that I got out of the trade early and it cost me some money, which, I mean, it didn't cost me anything. I made I got out pretty much at break even, making like $3 on the thing, but it cost me a winning trade. Mm-hmm. So, but do what you're going to do, or do what you tell yourself you're going to do before you get into a trade, because once you get into that trade, once you click that buy or sell button, from that point until the time the trade is closed, you are no longer a human being. You cannot think like a rational man. Until that trade is closed, forget it, because so many thoughts are going to go through your head. Should I close this? Or, the best one. Oh, it looks like it's going to. No, it don't. Maybe it does, but you don't know. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And I catch I'm not saying anything that I don't experience myself. When I, look at something and I think, well, it looks like it's going to do this. Based on what? Based on my irrational thoughts at the time. Because when money is on the line, you're going to have irrational thoughts.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Yeah. What do you see is the biggest mistake that your students are making?
Well, everybody has to learn at their own pace. I try to tell people what I do. I will show them what I do. As far as biggest mistake, the only you can make any mistake in the world, I don't care as long as you don't do one thing, and that's average down on your position. If you average down on your position, and if you are a trader that I know or a friend of mine, I will tell you, don't do that, because it may work. It may work 100 times in a row, but there's one time that it's not going to work, and it's going to blow out everything that you've worked for up until that point. I mean, how would you like to make $100 a day for 100 days in a row, and then on that 101st day you lose it all because you average down? And that's the one thing that I try to tell people not to do. And basically making mistakes is part of it. Everybody has to go in and make their own mistakes. And we never get done with making mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. It's just learning to control that risk, learning to control your money, and not doing anything stupid. Don't take a trade if there's no signal for it because it looks like it's going to turn around, unless you know the outcome of that trade. Or not the outcome, the probability of that outcome. We can never know the outcome. The probability of that outcome, there's no reason to be taking that trade at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Now, I started to get some experience with coaching a little bit, and what I realized is people kind of get to you with the idea of like trading full-time starting tomorrow. So what is the process that you guide them through to make sure they're successful? Over time.
There is a guy. I'm going to tell you the story of two people. There's a guy named Jerry. Jerry is a born trader. He came to me, I don't know, probably about 6 months ago. In his first month, he went from he took a $500 account to $10,000. Now, that is not typical. It's not typical at all. There are born traders out there, which I am not one of them. And then there are people that have to learn. The process is the first thing you want to do whenever you have a strategy is to spend more time than you should in front of those charts evaluating everything. You look at whatever strategy that you're evaluating, and you find out, is this a good strategy? Does it win or does it lose? What are my risks? You go into, you back test everything. Then you start to demo. You'll demo, I don't care what broker or whatever you use, just go in there and demo, place some trades, place them all over the place to find out, what's going on. And only after you become profitable in demo should you ever go live. Don't think that just because you have, well, maybe if I put some real money, then my emotions will help me win that trade. No, it'll work opposite of that. Once you have live money on there, you're going to do everything in your power to not lose that trade. "Quote unquote," average down your position. That's what you're going to do. I don't know any other way to say it. If you become profitable in demo, then you can go on to trading very, very small. 1 micro lot, 10 cents a pip, or 1 micro lot on Forex, or on Counter Exchange, they've got $1 contracts, or on Nadex, you can choose like an out of the money contract for $20 or something very, very small. Don't take money. Don't ever, borrow money or trade with any money that you can afford to lose, because most likely in the beginning you are going to lose. There's no system out there other than somebody that cheats, such as insider trading, or maybe a really smart man that has a 100% win rate. I know a guy that has a 100% win rate, and he won't tell me what he does, but he's already retired now. He won't even trade anymore. But it's very, very extremely rare. But you just got to try and continue going forward. And when you get discouraged, just sit back, take a break, and say, okay, is this something I really want to do? And because trading is not for everybody. You can't come in and be profitable tomorrow. It's not going to happen. Is it something you really want to do? Do you have the trading bug? If you do, if it's something that you enjoy, then take little tiny steps moving forward every day. You will find yourself getting better and better and better. And the longer you stick with it, the better you'll become. The average, most like something like 95% of the people, of traders, are not trading after 2 years. They've dropped out. They're done with it. If you last more than 2 years, you've got a whole lot better chance of becoming a profitable trader than the 95 or whatever percentage it is that's dropped out. There's no real statistics out there. I'm just telling you what I read on different sites and whatnot. But it's just like anything else. You don't start out a brain surgeon. You go to school. During school, you have to learn things that you don't want to learn. You have to take exams that you don't want to take. You've got to study. It's same thing with trading. There's very rare circumstances where you can come in and in 2 weeks, go on to make millions. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and even if you make million in 2 weeks, you still have to know how to manage the money for the future, right?
Oh,
because,
gosh.
Things happen, good things happen in the start, but it's not always the same thing afterward. Yeah.
Yeah. Compounding an account is a way that I like to do it. Start with a set amount of money and just make very microscopic gains on that account, each week or each month. Some weeks you may be, in the negative. Some months you might be in the negative, but if you've got a strategy that works and you can learn to control your own emotions, then if you average, say, 1% a week, on $100 on a $1,000 account, that's $10. Can you make $10 on average each week? Maybe 1 week you're up 20, maybe the next week you're down 5, but $10 on average. That's a 52% simple interest gain, but actually a lot more than that once you start compounding each year. The best traders in the world are making right around 20% a year. So if you can make 50% a year and compound that over the next few years, it's a road to wealth. Just be patient. Don't try to make 500% a day, or, there's so much stuff on the internet that's just mind-bogglingly stupid, 100% a week, or whatever. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but that's something we have to remind ourselves as trader. I think that's the goal is it's not to make so much money or so much return. It's really to be consistent with it, right?
Be very consistent with it. After you've got a system that you have back tested for years, and on more than one currency pair, don't back test it on the euro dollar and trade it on silver. Back test it on everything you plan on trading it on. And then you've demoed, and then you went into small trade size, go on from there to raise your trade size, but be consistent in what you do. Now the market changes. Strategies. By the way, news will break any strategy. If you got a strategy and then, non-farm payrolls are coming out, don't expect to win that trade. You may, yeah. Who knows? It may go 200 pips for you or 200 pips against you, but news will break a strategy. But be consistent and just do the same thing every day. You can always look for ways to add to or take away from your system to make it better. But be consistent. Oh, yeah, markets change. Markets change over time. The market's not the same now as it was back in the 1980s. So eventually your system will probably have to be tweaked a little bit. But don't go in there changing it every day or every week. It doesn't. The markets change as people change. We're not the same people as we were in the 1980s. In the 1980s, we were playing with, riding bicycles across, a dirt field. And today, kids are doing totally different things with, the electronics and whatnot. So, people change over time, and that's all the market is. It's people, made up of people.
I feel like this is a really actionable interview. I feel like people will have a lot of stuff to do afterwards. So that's perfect. That's perfect. One thing people often ask me about is the lifestyle of a trader. I think that's something people really like to hear about, because they want to go toward that goal. So what is your life like today exactly?
My life is simple. My life is based around God and my family. That's what matters to me. As long as my family is happy, and that's all I care about. We don't live an extravagant lifestyle. I'm not a multi-millionaire. I make pretty good money. But right now, to be truthfully honest, I'm sitting here in a 2-bedroom apartment in Irvine, California. We moved from Tennessee. We were living in Maryville, Tennessee, and we moved out here, and we're looking for a house right now, but it's just a simple life. We go wherever we want to go. If we want to go out to eat or go see a movie or travel, we're getting ready to take off to the Philippines to go see my wife's family in June. And, nothing extravagant other than the fact that we got to move to Irvine, which it's kind of expensive to live here, but compared to Tennessee. But I don't know, man. It's not like being a trader is, you're making $100 million a year. That's not even my goal. If I do, then great. But as long as my family is taken care of, that's all I care about. So.
But yeah, I think this is totally normal, and like most traders are not super millionaire anyway, and that's totally fine. That's not their goal. But I think what people really like to reach is really to have more freedom, right?
More freedom. Oh
yeah.
Gosh, the freedom is great. Because after I get off the phone with you, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go take me a nap. Why? Because I can. Working at a job. Now I used to work for a great company. I didn't necessarily hate the job, but that's all it was. It was a job. I made decent money, took care of my family there as well. But it wasn't the life that I wanted. I had to get up at a certain time every day, go to work, stay until this time, and work on the days that they told me. I had to do exactly what they told me I had to do, and in the way that they told me I had to do it. In return, they would give me some money each week. And I had climbed to not the top, but near the max that I would ever make, there. And I thought, is this it? I want more. It's freedom, the freedom to be able to do what you want to do with you and your family. There's nothing like that in the world. I was always poor. Not always. When growing up, my mom and dad gave us a good life. But the minute I left high school, I had my first son at 19. Life was tough. I made a lot of stupid decisions, and I put a book on Amazon called Trading Barefoot. The whole story's in there, but I was poor for years and years and years. And it's not the fact that I didn't really try. It's the fact that I was trying the wrong ways and kind of didn't care for a while. I just, like I said in the earlier part of this, I'm somewhat of a rebel or want to do it my way, hard-headed, whatever. But I guess I grew up a little bit, and the freedom is great. I'm sorry, I'm long-winded. I didn't.
It's totally fine, totally fine. So how can people find you?
Well, I run a couple of different websites. One of them is walkintrading.com. I'll send you the addresses and you can put the links up or whatever. And the other one is traderbotmarketplace.com. Walking Trading is, that's for your basic people learning to trade and are looking for signals. What TraderBot Marketplace is, me and Chris and Matthew are working on this hard and heavy. We're trying to create tools that are just flat out awesome to show any trader what the probability is of any trade being a win or a loss. And we have an auto trader on there too for Forex. the Auto Trader hit 114 wins in a row last week. And everybody's getting pretty good results. If they use it properly, it's not something you can turn on and then never look at it again. I don't know of anything like that works. But anyhow, that's Trader Bump Marketplace. You can go on Facebook. I'll post the Facebook group. And if you want to get in contact with me, just join that group or go on one of those sites and I'll talk to you. I made a mistake about giving out my phone number before, and then I started getting phone calls in the middle of the night, so I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, that might not be the best idea, but yeah, no, that's totally fine. I think you're pretty social, so people can find you everywhere online, so that's good. So what goals do you have for the future?
Well, my short-term goal, I got a conference that I'll be speaking at, Rob Booker's Traders Conference in May. I'm going to go there and try to make some acquaintances and whatnot. And kind of longer term goals, I'm just I want to get a house. We're looking at it for houses right now. But extremely long term vision. I don't really know if I want to say that on this little podcast here. But I just basically taking care of my family. We love life and we love living life, and that's it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the main goal anyway. What keeps you motivated to trade every single day?
Well, the freedom for one. I don't want to go back to a job. I don't want to do it. And that's probably the main goal. Being able to just freedom. That's it. That's the one goal.
One word, yeah.
I was terrified when I left my job. But now looking back, I would have done it a heck of a lot sooner if I hadn't have been a chicken. So,
cool.
But don't run off and leave your job until you're profitable. Just don't do it. I know some people that did that, and it doesn't turn out good. So
I'm just going to remind the listeners that all the shows are going to be on desiredtrade.com, so people can check out all the links we mentioned today. We mentioned a couple of things, so including the backtesting tool and a couple of links to your group. So everything is going to be on desiredtrade.com. And I just have one last question for you, Ryan. And that question is going to be pretty tough. Are you ready for that question?
Okay.
So that question is, if you could give only one piece of advice on how a trader can thrive in trading, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, one piece of advice. Oh, goodness. Okay. If you do what I'm getting ready to tell you, you have a whole lot higher probability of becoming successful. If you, and I mentioned it before in this show, if you pick one thing, just one strategy, I don't care what it is, one strategy, and you continually look, let's take something that I don't even use, such as the Ichimoku cloud. If you look at that, I don't use it, but anyhow, if you look at that, you can create a strategy, or pick somebody's strategy that works. Just get one thing and continually look at it, continually find out what works about it and what does not work. And if it doesn't work, flip it around. Look at it in reverse. You can find one thing and you get really good at that one thing before moving on to anything else. Stop jumping around. I guess that's it.
Stop jumping around. I like that. So, Ryan Herron, thanks a lot for being on the Desired Trade podcast. It's been a pleasure. I think you're doing great, and I'm looking forward to all your future plans.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, and you know where to find me.
All right. So there you have it, guys. My interview with Ryan Herron. Now, you mentioned one thing that you really have to apply after this episode. It's really about choosing one thing and focusing on it. I think this is probably the biggest lesson, the biggest takeaway from this episode. That reminds me that I wrote an article about 2 weeks ago about a trading strategy. It's a strategy you can apply on the daily chart, and it's really low maintenance. So check this out. I've tested it. I've put everything there for you. So check this out, desiredtrade.com/strategy, and you can see everything there. As always, it's a pleasure to connect with you on Facebook. Let me know what you think of the episode, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Desire to Trade podcast. To get all the information on this show, free articles, and unique resources, make sure to check out www.desiredetotrade.com and subscribe. please leave us a review and let us know what you thought about the show. It's time to become the best trader you can be. See you next time.